Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Five Boys in the Business. It looks like I'm solo, but I'm not. My partner in crime, Harrison, is on his way into the studio, on camera, to the couch. Hasn't quite made it here yet. This is a podcast where we talk about the many shenanigans that come about owning a business and raising five boys. So, Harrison.
Hold on, everybody. Let me adjust my microphone. I'm gonna
make sure to check out our merchandise at asvcmerch.com, where we can outfit you head to toe, from stocking hats all the way to socks. So
that is correct.
Now the weather is getting a little bit too warm, probably for stocking hats, but you never know. For goodness sakes, you never know. So.
Mm-hmm. So I am replacing Dr. King today because due to COVID-19 stuff, it has been unbelievably busy. I have been very surprised with everything going on, like just everything in general. There's been, we have probably seen, for those of you who don't know, COVID-19 is happening. And
you don't say.
And the amount of puppies that we are seeing currently is unbelievable. It's crazy. We have been seeing, like today alone, we've probably seen around 10 puppies. Hold on. Just go back to the Cam A scene. There you go. We've been seeing around, I don't know, anywhere between 5 and 10 puppies a day. And it is crazy how many people are getting puppies.
Right. It's not too surprising.
Today, it's not. Well, I said it was surprising for me personally, but like I'm sure it's not for them in general, or just But today, a litter of 6 puppies came in. They're all, I think, maybe around 2 months old, and there was 5 black lab puppies and then 1 yellow golden puppy. Yeah, so it's been unbelievable. So.
It's good. It's a good problem to have. I mean, to the extent that those new additions to people's families can bring joy and happiness to their lives and potentially lighten the situation, such as it is, I think it's good.
Yeah, no. I think so too. Do you want to talk about what you did this weekend?
Oh, boy.
Or actually, you want to talk about what you did the past 2 weeks?
Oh, we were out of town taking care of some things, and so yeah, it's good.
What are you doing?
Huh? Where did I go?
Yeah, where'd you go? Huh? Go back to the hometown, southern state of Tennessee.
Yeah, I spent some time in Tennessee. It was fun. Yeah, it's good. It's interesting to go back home, and for those of you who don't know, I lived in Tennessee pretty much my whole life until '96, when Emily and I moved back to Indiana to be closer to her family. So this is probably that's probably the longest I've been back home since then. So
really,
yeah,
2 weeks. That's a lot.
Because we left in June of '96, and I've been back for a week or something, but not 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but it's good. It's really interesting to see how much it's changed. And actually see some people that I haven't seen in a long time. So yeah, it's good. It's a much slower pace than it is, I mean, here, which is good. And people are super friendly. So Kingston specifically is where we were. So yeah. So it's good. It's a neat place. I'm glad to have had the opportunity to spend some time there. So it's good.
Yeah, I'm excited to go down there with you guys in a few weeks. Holden. Just keep, whenever I'm talking, just keep me on KMA, because I think
we're having a direct from back here.
Yeah. So. Let me preface this by saying, like I said before, Dr. King is out due to how busy we are. She can't make it because she's booked all day. So I am taking her place, and Holden, aka the third oldest brother,
athlete extraordinaire over here, is taking the reins and the helm.
It took me some time to say it, but he's eating pizza, dropping pepperoni on the ground, and manning the computer for the first time ever, and he's doing a pretty subpar job. So there you go.
He's doing okay.
But yeah, I'm excited.
It's really a family affair today.
I'm excited to go up there in a few weeks and see the place and whatnot.
So, yeah.
So I have I have a bone to pick with just phone scammers in general. Okay, I've made it.
Scammers.
No, what?
Phone scammers.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me explain real quick. So a week or so ago, I think it was on. I don't know if it was on my off week or not. I don't know. But I recently, maybe a few weeks ago, got a call, or I kept getting these calls. Okay, yeah. And they were pretty infrequent, but like they're happening enough where I was like, oh my god, like who is this? And usually my method is that if I won't answer it if I don't know the name, if I don't know the number, right. I'll just let them leave a voicemail, because if they leave a voicemail, it's important.
Right.
Okay. So they keep calling me. They're not leaving voicemails, and I was like, okay, who is this person? And it was the same number over and over again. So I was like, okay, it's got to be someone. I pick up, okay, and it's this lady, and right off the bat, it's kind of sketch. And I was like. And she was like, "Oh yes, Harrison, have you renewed anything? Have you renewed any insurance on your 2010 Ford Taurus?" I was like, "No." Why? She was like, "Would you like to?" And I was like, "No, I don't need to." And she was like, "No, okay, I'll transfer you." And she transfers me, but it's not necessarily a transfer, because the the guy that I end up talking to comes into like our phone line. Yeah. And so like they're like. It's like it's all three of us. It's not like a proper transfer. And so the girl's like, she's like, "Hey Jim, yeah, this is him. Okay, all right." And the guy's like, "Okay, thanks Jan," or whatever. And he's like, "Okay, bye." They hang up. And he's like trying to like talk friendly with me. Like there's kids screaming in the background. I'm like, what is going on? Like this is definitely not like
it's not
real,
legit.
Right? Yeah, it's not legit. Okay, so I end up doing this thing because I'm actually curious, right? It ended up costing me in the end. I didn't end up doing anything with them. I told them that I had a 2004 Ford Taurus, not 2010. The guy was like, "Oh, really? My information must be incorrect." I was like, "Oh, probably must be."
Right.
And ever since that call,
oh no,
I have gotten.
You got on a list.
I have gotten at least 20 to 40 calls a week, and I've had to block numbers like nobody's business.
Right.
And ever since I actually, smartened up and started blocking people's numbers, I don't get them nearly as much now. But I was getting them from, Indianapolis, Plymouth, Evansville, like everywhere in Indiana they could probably think of.
And I don't think they're coming from Indiana. I think what happens is
well, no, probably not. But they're showing up as that.
Yeah, like they'll route through something.
Right.
I had a call. True story. This has been several years ago. I was here at the clinic, and somebody they got on the intercom, or they got a hold of me here. They hit my extension. They said, "Hey, there's some guy on the phone that said they're on their way to cut the power off." And I was like, "What?" So I was like, "All right." So I picked it up, and this guy goes, "True story." He says, "Yes, you guys haven't paid your bill. We're sending a truck right there right now to cut your power off. It'll be in 20 minutes, or you can pay it right now on the phone." I'm like, I pay that every month. What are you talking about?"
Right.
And I said, "How much do I owe you?" And he's like, "Hold on, let me check." And I got put on hold, and then it goes dead. So it cracks me up. It's it's funny, and maybe as I get older, I look at that stuff and I think, how on earth do people live with themselves to do that?
I don't know.
How do you do stealing people's money like that, or causing stress? I thought it's a sad state of humanity.
I really don't know, because I actually follow somebody on Twitter that they kept getting they were my situation, right? They're like getting so many calls, and they eventually started toying with them, right? And the last one that she did, she toyed with them so hard to the point where she was like, I know what you're doing. Like right. On the phone, she's like, "I know what you're doing. Like, how often does this work?" And the guy was like, "Oh, it works more than like you think it would." And like he just hung up. And I was like,
"Well, okay." Do you remember you may not remember this. This is maybe when you were in college or high school, but there was a scam going around where they would call people and say they're from the IRS. And you face civil penalties and all the stuff you don't pay.
They still do stuff like that.
So I got one of those calls one time, and I was like, I was like, you have to do better than this. You have to do better.
Right.
I mean, they call, and it was crazy, because I thought it's really sad that people fall for that. They'll give them their money, hard-earned money, because they're preying on ignorance. You don't know any better. It's too bad. And but those happen all the time. So you always have to be on guard.
Oh, they still do stuff like that. There's still situations where they'll call you and be like, "You are in trouble by the FBI. Like you need to call this number right now, or else like we're gonna come for you." And it's like, okay, whatever.
That's not the way it works.
Yeah, it's like
no. that was the tip off when it was like, we're gonna send the FBI. It's like the FBI doesn't. It's not the way it works. Yeah. Just so you know, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, no.
They're not going to send Marion County cops to get you. If
Yep.
you're,
It's the last thing
you're
on
the
their mind.
IRS.
They ain't doing that. They ain't doing that. Yes.
I almost got scared one time.
You did.
Yeah, 'cause I was-
Holden saying that he almost got scared one time.
Scammed.
Or scammed, sorry.
Harrison, I am.
I mean, both ways.
It was when I was looking for sugar gliders.
Yeah.
Was that the person in Chicago?
I don't know, but there was a guy. He said that he had free sugar gliders, wanting to re-hone them. So I was just like, "Oh, you do?" As like a joke. And he was like, "Yeah, you can only pay through Amazon gift cards."
Yeah, that's a
Hey,
negatory.
I've got a question for you because I buy gift cards.
Wait, hold on one
Okay,
sec.
go ahead.
Sam said, I watched a video that a lady answered a telemarketing phone call, and she put a lid from a pan over her phone and hit the lid with a wooden spoon while the person was on the other end. It's like, that's actually hilarious because that reminds me of that one video. I think you've seen it of this kid, this guy gets these. He gets two phones, okay?
Right.
He calls one pizza delivery place and puts it down, and calls another pizza delivery place, puts it down, puts them next to each other, and the guy's like, "Hey," she's like, "Hey, like this is Pizza Hut, what do you want?" And the guy next to him's like, "This is Domino's, what can I get for you?" And he's like, "Wait, what?" And like they take each other's orders, and they're like, "Wait, you're Domino's?" Like it is hilarious.
Oh my
if I was over
gosh.
on the computer, I'd pull it up. It's one of the funniest things I think I've seen in a while. Oh goodness, it's
I
funny.
forgot what I was going to say now.
You were talking about Amazon gift cards.
Oh, when I go and buy PlayStation cards for the kids, it always comes up and says, make sure this isn't some scam.
Oh yeah,
I was like, why? What do people do?
Oh, I mean, you can go. Actually, there's a scam going on right now on YouTube. There's this YouTuber called Mr. Beast,
Yeah.
and he basically his whole thing is just throwing gobs of money at people. Like he's basically like a nice dude that just like he bought a $100,000 house for a pizza delivery guy. Like he'll just do that kind of stuff, and he has the money to do it.
Right.
And so there's this scam going around on YouTube where it's like his face like with a thumbs up and then a PlayStation gift card, and it's like click here, and like he's had to come out on Twitter and be like, "Listen, that's not me. I've talked to YouTube. I'm going to talk to YouTube about it.
Right.
Like please don't click on that link." So yeah, it's
Speaking of
it's
the
interesting.
influence that YouTubers have, Calvin, our 8-year-old, the other day, I woke up and he was already awake, and I heard him in his room, and he was going, "Okay, everybody, if I get 100 more subscribers, I'm going to give this controller away." I was like, "No, you're not. You're not giving anything away."
That's so funny because I would do the same thing back in the day when I was doing my YouTube stuff. I'd be like, "I'm going to give away this custom scuff controller," and I had no money and no one to give it to. It was
Well, at least
ridiculous.
you're trying. I mean,
Right.
that's marketing is so much of marketing is throwing things out there and seeing what sticks and what works and what resonates.
Yeah.
So that's gosh, that's okay. I thought that I read somewhere the other day though that I think is it Instagram that they were trying to cut back on, they were throttling something. They were because the influencers they wanted to because people if you have 10 million followers or whatever, Instagram's not getting a cut of that or whatever you're throwing out there.
I'm surprised they haven't done that already.
So they were trying to cut back. I forgot. I can't remember what it was, but it was
Right.
interesting that they're trying. Those platforms are taking the attention from individual users and trying to kind of
Sure.
take a cut of whatever
Sure.
their influence amounts to from a
Right.
monetization standpoint.
Right, yeah. To those watching, sorry for the frame drops. It seems to be freaking out right now, the internet. Just give it a little bit, it'll get back up. Speaking of like content and all that stuff, so ESPN has been marketing this show, or this docuseries called The Last Dance.
Oh yeah, the Bulls.
Have you seen that?
I've seen an ad for it.
Did you see have you watched any of it at all?
No, but I was talking to Holden maybe, or was it Johnny? I can't remember.
We were talking about last night.
Yeah, I was saying that they were. I remember that time, the late '80s, early '90s, and my perception was they were a great. I mean, they were a great team, but it almost got boring after a while. It's kind of like the Patriots of that era. I mean, they just
Right.
won so much. It's like, okay, come on.
Right.
So yeah, but I mean, they were great. They were great, to be sure. I mean, Michael Jordan. What's fascinating about that whole thing was that Michael Jordan was the first. I remember in high school, my freshman year, 1985 to '86. That was when the first Michael Jordans came out, Nike
Right.
basketball shoes, and that's one of the first times that ever happened, where they had taken an individual shoe and branded
Hold
it to
on.
an individual player.
Hold on. Stop squeaking the chair.
you could they took it and they branded it directly to that person, and then that brand, was I think still going on even today, 35 years later,
right,
36 years later. So it's fascinating. I mean, and he was the big brand, person on the team. Michael Jordan was a superstar. I mean, just insane.
Right.
And how that went, and the whole aura around that time period. They won it three times in a row, unheard of. Came back a few years later and won it 3 times again.
Mm-hmm.
And all of, there's so many people on that team. There were characters. Dennis Rodman, the guy with the multicolored hair. I think he was in the second phase of their championship run. And then Scottie Pippen and all those guys. It was great. It was cool to see. But I anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
The series is subscription only, I think, isn't it, right?
Well, no. The great thing is that if you're subscribed to Disney Plus, you have the option to get ESPN Plus.
Right.
And so I have I have that entire bundle. So I have Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, and all of it is a pretty decent price. It's like $13 a month, but
it's almost a joke.
It's it is. The
a
show,
joke, and so far it's so cheap.
Episode one was very good.
Right.
I obviously was not able to kind of witness that era. Like I wasn't alive, and so there are 3 things that I wish I wish I could have witnessed Michael Jordan playing. I wish I could have witnessed. I was alive, but I didn't really care. I wish I could have watched Reggie Miller play, and I wish I could have watched Peyton Manning play in his prime. And so seeing because this show is based around documented footage that has not been seen since the 90s.
Right.
Nobody has seen this thing. This has not been put together. The public has not seen this footage for decades.
Right.
Okay. And they have been saving this footage for this exact thing, for this exact documentary. It's 8 episodes. And
can you binge watch this? Like, do they drop?
No. It's 2 episodes every Sunday.
Okay.
So there's 2 yesterday and 2 this coming Sunday, and I did not realize how. Like, I know Michael Jordan was like I've never really binged watched clips of him playing, but wow, like he's good.
He was good.
He's good. Like it was because you could see clips of him playing in high school, in college, and then in the Bulls, and it's so interesting seeing him transition from college to in the NBA, because I feel like many players have a really hard time transitioning from college to the NBA, but like it was just seamless. Somebody asked me, he was like, "What's the transition like?" He was like, "It's easy." He's like, "It's not that hard."
Well, and I think you have to keep in mind there's some people out there that have more talent than you can possibly imagine.
Right.
So, I mean, to play at that, think about the people that they took out of high school from a pure skill set standpoint.
Sure.
Could hang in the pros. I mean, that's more talent than you can imagine straight out of, at 18, 19 years old, 20.
Right.
Now you have other halo issues there. Are they mature enough to be able to handle it and all that other stuff?
Right.
But that's where I think these guys are so talented, and Jordan obviously is in that category where, I mean, to him it's just you're just doing what you're supposed to do. Although I do think it's interesting because Tanya Crevier, she would talk about what those guys did sometimes in the off season, and you think about it, you see the end result, but then what you don't see is, like, you hear the stories about Kobe Bryant, how he would fly into a place and meet somebody at the gym and then work out for 6 hours, and then they had a game that night. I mean, it never ends. I mean, to be at that level, you have to put so much time in to be so devoted and work with coaches and strength coaches and shooting I mean, what we see is the game and the greatness, but what you don't see is what goes into that. Everything that goes into it, and which is kind of a message of life, basically. Is you see the success, you see, but you don't see everything the decade that led up to that.
Right. Speaking of like the behind the scenes stuff, they actually go into detail of why that the 6th championship was kind of the end. So
because Phil Jackson left to go to the Lakers, wasn't it?
Well, that's yes, but there's a lot of underlying issues like with it, right? So the docuseries is not meant to cover like, oh, like Jordan was great and like 6 championships are fantastic and like all glitz and glam. Like it's supposed to like really get into the nitty gritty of like there's like also supposed to be some not good stuff in there.
Right.
And so the first episode goes over the GM at the time. His name was Jerry Klaus.
Right.
Klaus, I think, or Krause, I don't know. But he was the reason why they did not get, or why the dynasty didn't continue. He alone pitched to the, I don't know how it works, the board,
Like the owner?
the higher up, the owner, the owner, basically saying, listen, players don't win championships, organizations do. And so I want to show people that I can put together a team without Jordan that'll win championships. Obviously, that didn't work.
Let me guess, that failed.
Because I don't. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that the Bulls have not won since that 6th championship in '97.
I don't think they're very good.
I think it was 97.
I don't follow it much anymore, but I don't. I mean, to my knowledge, I'm aware of who wins every year,
right?
But I don't really watch it. And I
so,
wonder. And it'd be interesting to get someone who's older than me their take on it. But I think my perception was we all watched like, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and those guys. Larry Bird was the Celtics. Magic Johnson was with the Lakers, I think.
Yep.
I mean, you had individual players that were really good and stars, but that was kind of the Jordan era was kind of the first when they're like, well, what's Michael Jordan going to do to win this? I'm like, well, there's 4 of the dudes playing.
Right.
I mean, so what is it about this collective team effort that that revolves around this one individual now, such that you can't win without this one individual, which is kind of odd. It's interesting because they had, and I'm going to butcher this. I know someone's going to come on in here and say that you don't know what you're talking about, but I could swear that when they went and did the World Championship or something, some of these other like European countries had reverted back to that team concept and were better than some of the American teams because they had relied so heavily on individual members with talent instead of collectively as a team putting people together.
Well, that's what. Well,
that may be part of the. I don't know, part of the series too.
That's why the Bulls were so great, though, is because I mean, I don't. You see it. In my personal opinion, I think you see that team effort very rarely nowadays.
Right.
In the NBA, you always have these super teams being made with the Warriors and whatnot. And with the Bulls,
where's LeBron go?
Yeah, with the Bulls, it was really interesting because I could be wrong, but I don't think people really like knew who Scottie Pippen was, or
during the time they did,
or Dennis Rodman. I know, but like they became a huge deal by the time they were all of them were together. But, like individually, they were like, some talk here, some talk there, but like once they came together, they were like,
well, I mean, Dennis Rodman was a superstar in his own right. He had won with the Pistons, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was a great player already.
Yeah,
he was just a crazy person on the floor defensively, just throwing his body around and just a nut.
And so when you put them together, when you have Michael Jordan, who's a lead scorer and a great offensive asset to your team, and then you have Scottie Pippen, who's a great number 2 man. He can just come on. He's great at being that second scorer, and then you have Dennis Rodman, who is a lead rebounder, and he's, like you said, he's crazy defensively and whatnot. It is, right there is, and then you have people like Steve Kerr who can literally just come off the bench and shoot a clutch 3. It's crazy. We're talking too much about sports.
No, it's fascinating though because I remember going. You watch the NBA, you watch games on TV and stuff, and it's like how long they go. But I was this has been several years ago. We had a client that had tickets, courtside tickets for the Pacers, and he couldn't go. And he goes, "Hey, do you guys want to go?" So a buddy of mine and I went downtown to see the game, and it is when you're on the floor level and you're watching these guys thunder up and down the court. It is because they're huge dudes.
Right.
And they're just, it's like a bunch of, it's crazy, how big they are, how loud it is, how physical it actually is in person as you watch it and as they're kind of shoving each other around and stuff. It's a completely different experience.
Right.
So,
but yeah, I highly recommend anybody to go watch The Last Dance. Even if you're not, like, my fiance is not into basketball at all. She doesn't like it. But I watched the first episode with her last night, and she enjoyed it. She really liked it.
I speaking of series, and you've already finished it, so we sort of talk about Ozark on Netflix. Dark, love it. Yeah. It is the darkest show ever.
It's
it's
very
insane.
Good. I think it's Jason Bateman's best work. I think it's very good.
I mean, I watched it. I was like, what? They can't. It's like Game of Thrones good almost. It's, not quite, but it's good.
I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, it's so good.
And the brutality, what is another thing that's fascinating to me is the brutality and efficiency with which some criminal organizations must operate.
Right.
I mean, there is nothing. They it's fascinating. It's unbelievable, and I'm sure that there's probably at least some truth to how all that works.
I like you said, I finished it a few weeks ago. Maybe I watched it all over the course of a few days, and I think I just like I think I just like seeing. My favorite character is Marty.
Right.
And so I think I just like seeing like him, like his brain function, like just the way he works. I love seeing him like be so meticulous, but like also being like very sly and like
Right.
It's super
Understated.
Whoever does the writing on the show is
Right.
brilliant. Not only for like just the overall plot for each season and just the show in general, but just the characters are brilliantly done.
Right.
And so yeah, fantastic job to the people who do that show. Also, the people who do Tiger King.
I haven't watched that yet either. But that is a phenomenon, isn't it?
It has taken over.
And it is, there's so many memes and it's crazy.
There was a meme the other day I saw of this fast food place, and it said, it had like a cliche or a funny line, and it said, so and so, we're hiring, and then it said, except you, Carol Baskin, and it went viral all over Twitter. But yeah, that show has taken over Netflix and also just the country in general. They actually did a follow-up episode recently, interviewing a couple of the people on the show, a couple of people on the docuseries. I haven't watched it yet because I don't really think there's a point to, but I think they reached out to Carol Baskin and she said no because she's mad at how they portrayed her, which understandable. But
it always makes me laugh though because they always come out, we didn't know it was gonna be like that. It's like, that's why you don't participate, goofball.
Yep.
Although, trust me, I mean, you can't buy marketing like that. I mean, even though it's bad, not for Joe Exotic, but like for her, if it was legit and she had a rescue,
right?
I mean, you can't get that kind of. I mean,
right.
that many eyeballs.
I think I read the other day that Joe Exotic's actually out of jail.
Huh?
Yeah,
he got 22 years in the federal penitentiary.
Well, I think he did something. Hold on, let me check. Just to check my sources, so I don't look stupid.
I don't know. Who knows?
Joe Exotic out.
People
of
don't
jail.
usually disappear though for no reason.
Oh.
Follow-up episode come out on Netflix?
Oh wait, never mind. He's still in jail.
Well, I mean, I think I may be wrong, but I thought you had to serve like 80 or 85% of your sentence in federal prison.
I don't know.
So he's not getting out till he's like
I thought
75.
I read the other day that he was out. Apparently not.
You know what is fascinating? I haven't watched the whole series yet, but it is fascinating. You watch these whole stories and you think, how did this happen? I mean, how does this happen such that you go from being eccentric, a little crazy, to trying to hire somebody to, take the life of someone else? It's always interesting to me is what's the mental process? And it must be a baby step kind of thing to where, and all of a sudden you've done something you clearly shouldn't have done. Right. But it's interesting. It's interesting with what. And it's something else too that's interesting is he's obviously a pretty decent marketer. I mean, of his own personal brand. I mean, he looked funny and he was on billboards and he did all this crazy stuff. But that war with this particular person just drove him over the edge.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. It's bizarre. I mean, I think if you like just like weird, just
train wrecks,
messed up stuff, like that, like I recommend it. I've watched a handful of documentaries and docuseries like that on Netflix. There's one called "Don't F with Cats."
I've heard about that.
That one,
weird.
That one, you won't be able to sleep at night. It is messed up. What happens? It is It's crazy. Holden watched it because I told him to watch it, and it is crazy.
I could go to bed. I had to walk around for a while.
Really?
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's not that it's like pop-up scary. It's just the concept.
Well, no, it's not pop-up scary.
Creepy.
It's just like messed up. Like
Right.
You don't like. Well,
That guy's in jail now too, right?
One because it happened in real life.
Right.
And two, but just because the things they did, it was. Yeah.
It's fascinating though, too. You look at people like that. We were talking about scammers earlier, and the darkness of, the human psyche and what people do or are willing to do, and it's always fascinating to me that it's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. You can go watch that if you want to.
On a lighter note.
Yeah, on a lighter note.
On a lighter note, I hope everybody's doing well, and looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel, and it looks like they're going to start reopening this pretty soon and getting things back to normal. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, and
hopefully, I think it's going to be interesting. I don't think people are going to just go out willy-nilly anymore. I think it's going to be kind of like you're sitting next to me at the theater, like You know, I think people are gonna be more cautious than they were before, and it's gonna be interesting
To a
see how
point,
that
though. I
happens.
mean, I don't know.
When we first opened up, it'll happen. I don't know how long it'll last. I don't think it'll last like for too long, but because I saw the
Yeah.
other day that Jacksonville opened up their beaches already.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know. I think, I have mixed opinions about a lot of this stuff, but it's interesting. I think that I've told the other boys that, I mean, this is history in the making. I mean, this is 100 years from now, they'll talk about it.
Right.
I mean, because it was, the steps they've taken and the ramifications of those steps
Right.
are yet to be known. But I'm confident. I think that once they open things back up and things, allow people to reopen their businesses and get going, that it'll be a while, probably a year, before things are really, truly back to normal. But I have faith in the American economy and, people's ability to work through these issues. And I think we're going to be fine. It's going to be a slog, but we're all in this together. So let's keep head through.
Yeah. To all those who have been watching the Dr. King Says videos, thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it a lot.
If there's something you'd like to hear about, let us know.
Yeah, the first Dr. King Says that we put up about COVID-19 got around 62,000 views.
Wow.
It reached a lot of people. So thank you guys for watching that. And then we also did an update video on the issue at hand, COVID, and it's at 30,000 views. So
that's awesome.
The first one is pretty much just it's a very short 2-minute, pretty much telling people what they want to know. Like
Right.
they're pretty much saying no. At the time, we didn't think pets could get, or dogs, cats. We didn't think they could get COVID. The most recent video goes more in detail of how COVID spreads, how now we've discovered that dogs and cats can get COVID, but
Right.
like not really, and how
But can they transmit to other
but,
humans?
yeah, but how they do not transmit it, but they
Right.
get it themselves. Pretty much, it's just a good video. So
Isn't it fascinating, though? I remember there's a quote from this guy named Cody Lundeen. He said, Mother Nature is neither for you or against you. She simply is. And I thought, this whole thing, it's so fascinating how these viruses come out of nowhere, and yet they have such a negative effect.
right.
And there's nothing you can do about it. It just is what it is. So
Yeah, we see. I think our stream's a little behind because of the internet right now. But Sam said yes, it's insane, and then Lisa sitting there said, "Dick, my husband told me about that. Wild." Yeah, I think they're talking about Tiger King.
yeah.
So, or Don't F with Cats, one of the two. Yeah, it's crazy. But regarding Dr. King, we don't have another Dr. King Says in the works right now. As far as I know, no new significant information has come out about COVID-19 and pets and transmission of the virus. But this week we do have a day in the life coming out with Dr. King. She walks people through a surgery, and which is a gastropexy. The gastropexy is a surgery that's performed on larger dogs with bigger chest cavities or chest. German Shepherds, Great Danes,
Right.
Saint Bernards, Bernese Mountains. It's a really good video. I figure we haven't done a surgery in a while, so
Yeah, that's cool.
might as well film that and get that out there. So if you guys want to check that out at some point this week, you can. Yeah, got a lot of good things coming.
There's something that you'd like us to discuss or shoot or otherwise discuss, let us know, and we'd be happy to do it.
Yeah, we have
Just for you.
We did have. I mean, COVID has messed up things, but we did have a lot of guests scheduled for April, but they weren't able to come in, obviously. But hopefully, in the next few months, we'll have some very, very cool guests on.
I hope to shoot some more Richie Reviews videos too this summer. Still trying to figure out how to get our hands on a dog chariot. And
Yeah, the infamous dog chariot. Jeez.
For those of you who know, a dog chariot is basically a scooter with a harness on either end, so you can exercise your dog while riding the scooter.
Yeah, that is something else. I mean, speaking of Richie Reviews, we recently reviewed a eco-friendly compostable version of our poop bag, or of our friends over at Alpha Dog Pack. They have a poop bag that's eco-friendly and compostable. We did a review on that, and it went really well. We got around, like 26,000 views.
Yeah.
So people seem to enjoy it. They're currently actually doing a giveaway of some of their poop bags. So if you guys want to go check that out, they are at Alpha Dog Pack on Instagram. That is their main thing. So if you want to go check that out, that would be perfect.
A big fan of Alpha Dog.
Yeah.
Alpha Dog Pack.
Yeah.
Their products are really cool, and they're
it's
really cool people too.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started here, I just reached out to them and I was like, hey, you know, we have a pretty decently sized audience, and I mean I like the way your products look,
right?
So you know, I'd like to, you know, check it out. They just sent us one of their poop bags, and we reviewed it, and that was the relationship from there.
We did a leash for them, didn't we? Too?
We did a leash for them as well.
Right.
The Richie reviews that we have done for them are 2
poop bags and a leash.
The regular poop bags, the eco-friendly poop bags, and then the leather leash. All fantastic products. And like, this isn't even like they send us these products, full disclosure, but we genuinely like these products. Like they're fantastic. Not only can you order the poop bags separately, but it's a monthly subscription, which I personally have not seen before.
Right.
So you can order them however at whatever recurring month or whatever you want. So Emily King is calling.
Should I take it?
Yeah, go for it.
Hello, I can help you.
Yeah, you guys finished?
Yes, right now we're walking out as we speak.
Okay, good. Have Holden go find Lisa.
Got it.
Oh yeah, Holden, you can leave. Holden, you can leave.
Okay, well, the fair doctor has summoned us.
The doctor has spoken. Lisa said, "Don't f with cats." Yes, that's what she was talking about.
So we are going to wrap it up here, and thank everyone for watching today.
Sorry for the internet has been slow today. I don't know why.
Too many people watching
days.
Tiger King.
Too many people watching Tiger King.
Burn up the bandwidth
when they should be working.
Lisa said she was talking about
But what was I just saying? Oh, sorry for the internet dropping, because whenever you just have those days during the the week that the internet's just bad, and so it just happened to be today.
Here's the hope in fiber optics. The cable comes in soon.
Yeah, maybe next week I'll have an internet story for you guys again, because
is it good, like, next week? When are they coming?
No, it's May 3rd.
Oh, May 3rd.
The thing is that I got into the cable box. Okay.
Right.
But when I open it up, I have no idea what I'm looking at. No clue.
You see a little sign that says, whatever you do, don't put this and this together.
I mean, I was reading it, and nothing looks loose. Nothing looks torn. So I don't know if it's just
something
like a bad,
stupid. It's
probably,
something stupid on the street.
They're going to come here, and they're going to be like...
This will be there for 5 minutes.
Right, yeah, I know.
So anyway.
All right.
Okay,
So,
well, thanks everybody for watching. Please check out our merchandise at asvcmerch.com, where we can outfit you from head to toe with hats to socks. And yes, we're coming. Okay. Summoned twice, so it must be serious. So we're going to wrap it up there, and we'll see you guys next time. 5 Boys in a Business.
I have to go turn off the stream because Holden left. Bye, guys.
Bye.